I honestly never thought I'd be here, writing something like this. My wife and I were that couple everyone looked at and said, wow, they've got it figured out. Married 8 years. No kids yet, by choice, we were waiting until we hit some financial goals. We had just moved into a house we saved for together, took weekend road trips, cooked together, laughed like teenagers. I thought we had the kind of marriage you could hang a poster on. My wife, Ella, not her real name, is the type of woman who makes strangers smile. Proper, kind, thoughtful. The type who handwrites thank you notes and remembers your niece's birthday. She's never been the wild night out type. So when she told me her old college friends were planning a girls' trip to the coast for a weekend, I didn't think twice. I encouraged her to go. Even helped her pack. You deserve it, I said. Have fun. The first 2 days, she sent me photos, the beach, brunch mimosas, cheesy group selfies. I was happy for her. But then, something changed. The text stopped. Her responses were short and delayed. I figured she was just unplugging, good for her, right? But what happened next flipped my world upside down. So, like I said, Ella's text slowed down after the second day of her girls' trip. I wasn't panicking, not yet. I figured they were out late, maybe drinking a little too much, and just sleeping in. Normal vacation stuff. But then I got a message from Natalie, one of Ella's college friends who was on the trip. We've always been friendly, nothing weird. The message just said, "Hey. I think you should see this. You deserve to know." Attached was a blurry photo, taken clearly in low light, showing Ella, asleep in bed, next to some guy. They were under the covers. The guy was shirtless. Her back was to the camera. She looked passed out. I stared at the photo for a solid minute, like my brain couldn't even register what I was seeing. I replied, "What the hell is this, Natalie?" No answer. Just read receipts. Then, silence. My heart was pounding. I texted Ella. No response. I called. Straight to voicemail. I remember pacing my kitchen, thinking maybe this was some prank or misunderstanding. I wanted to believe anything except the obvious. But my gut was already twisting in knots. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat there, staring at that damn photo, wondering who the guy was, why her friends would send it, and how someone like Ella could ever end up in a bed that wasn't ours. Ella came home Sunday night, just like planned. I was sitting in the living room when she walked in, suitcase rolling behind her, smiling like she had just had the best time of her life. She looked tan, relaxed, and totally unaware that my heart had been run through a blender. I didn't say anything at first. Just watched her take off her shoes, stretch, and say, "Hey babe." You wouldn't believe the traffic on the way back. I nodded, trying to act normal, but my hands were clenched so tight my knuckles were white. Then I asked, as calmly as I could, "So, how was the trip?" She gave me the usual highlights. Beach was beautiful, ate way too much, Ashley got sick from too many mojitos. All while I sat there wondering if she was going to voluntarily tell me about the photo. She didn't. I pulled out my phone, opened the picture, and slid it across the coffee table. Her entire body froze. She didn't even touch the phone. Just stared at it like it was a live grenade. Her face went pale, and all that easygoing energy? Gone in an instant. Finally, she whispered, "Oh my God. I didn't know anyone took that." I asked her, straight up, "Who is he, Ella?" She shook her head, panicking now. "I don't know who he is. I swear." I blacked out. I didn't mean for anything to happen. I cut her off. So something did happen. Her lip quivered. "I don't know." I woke up in that bed and freaked out. I thought maybe I drank too much. The girls kept handing me drinks all night, I didn't even feel safe. I swear, I didn't sleep with anyone on purpose. That word, purpose. It hit me like a truck. She started crying. Not the guilty kind of cry either, it was messy, confused, like she was spiraling as the weight of the situation finally crashed down on her. She kept repeating, "I don't remember. I don't even know who he was. I swear, I didn't mean to." I asked her again, calmly but coldly. "Did you sleep with him?" She just looked at me, speechless. Then finally said, "I don't know. I honestly don't know. I remember dancing, taking shots, and then waking up next to some guy. I didn't plan any of it. I feel sick even talking about it." I was furious, confused, heartbroken. Here was my wife, the most gentle, caring woman I knew, telling me she might have slept with a stranger while on a trip I encouraged her to go on. And the only reason I even knew about it was because one of her friends sent me a photo. "Why didn't you tell me as soon as you got home?" I asked. She looked ashamed. I was terrified. I wanted to pretend it didn't happen. I kept thinking, maybe I imagined it. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But then I saw the picture, and I couldn't breathe. It was like she broke in front of me. And in a messed up way, part of me believed she hadn't intentionally done it. But does that even matter? Cheating is cheating, right? She tried to grab my hand. I pulled away. After that gut-wrenching conversation, I told Ella I needed space. She didn't fight it. She just nodded, still crying, and packed a bag to stay at her sister's place for a few days. I sat in the silence of our house, staring at our wedding photo like it was a picture of strangers. I kept replaying everything over and over in my head, the trip, the photo, her face when she saw it. I didn't sleep. I barely ate. I just existed in this fog of betrayal and disbelief. But the next day, things took a sharp turn. I got another message, this time from Ashley, another friend on the trip. She said, "I think you're being lied to. Natalie set her up. Call me." At first I thought it was more drama, but I was desperate for clarity. I called her. Ashley sounded anxious, but firm. She told me that Natalie, the one who sent the photo, had a grudge against Ella from back in college. Something about an old relationship and jealousy that never really went away. Ashley said the group had been drinking heavily that night, and that Natalie kept pressuring Ella to loosen up. Apparently, she handed her multiple shots, and at some point, Ella blacked out. They thought she had gone to her room alone. But Ashley swore that when she found Ella the next morning, she was fully clothed, and the guy was passed out on top of the covers. The room door had been left unlocked. No one knew who the guy was, just some local who had joined their group late that night at the bar. And here's the bombshell, Natalie was the one who brought him back. Ashley suspected that Natalie staged the photo to make it look worse than it was. I didn't know what to believe. I wanted to scream. If this was true, it changed everything. But could I really trust anyone at this point? I couldn't sit on what Ashley told me. My mind was spinning. If Ella really was set up, that changes everything. But I needed answers from the source. So, I messaged Natalie and told her we needed to talk. To my surprise, she agreed. We met at a local coffee shop. She came in acting smug, like she expected to be praised for helping me find the truth. I cut straight to the point. "Did you set Ella up?" She blinked, then scoffed. "What? No. I just thought you deserved to know what your wife really does when you're not around." Then I mentioned Ashley. And that's when her tone shifted. Natalie got defensive. Fast. Ashley's always had a soft spot for Ella. She's just trying to cover her ass because she let that guy in. I stared her down. "So you're saying Ella brought him back?" Natalie hesitated. For the first time, hesitated. "Well, not exactly. He was tagging along. Everyone was drunk. The cracks were showing. I asked if she had more photos. Any proof that Ella did anything beyond being in that bed. She didn't. And the more I pressed, the more it became clear, she didn't know what really happened. She just saw an opportunity to cause chaos and she took it. Before I left, I said, "If you ever had a problem with my wife, you should have handled it like an adult. Not like this." Natalie rolled her eyes. "You're so blinded by her." "Just wait, you'll see." But I had seen enough. And I was starting to believe Ella may not have betrayed me after all. After confronting Natalie, I sat in my car for what felt like hours. There was this war going on in my chest. On one hand, I'd seen the photo. I couldn't unsee it. On the other, if what Ashley said was true, Ella might have been just another victim in someone else's twisted game. I texted her, "Come home. We need to talk properly." She showed up an hour later, looking like hell. Eyes puffy, still in the clothes from her sister's place. I hadn't seen her this broken since her dad passed away. She didn't even ask questions. Just walked in, sat down, and waited. I told her everything about Ashley, about Natalie, about what I'd learned. When I said the words "I think Natalie set you up," Ella didn't react the way I expected. No vindication. No relief. Just quiet, slow tears. "I thought you'd never look at me again," she whispered. She told me what little she remembered: loud music, dancing, pressure to take more shots than she wanted. Then waking up confused, sick, fully dressed, and terrified. She said she tried to convince herself it was nothing. That maybe she just passed out and nothing happened. But the photo made her question her own memory. And my reaction? It shattered her. Then she said something that hit me like a punch to the chest. "I was so scared you'd leave me, that I started convincing myself I deserved it." I didn't have words. I just pulled her in and held her for the first time in days. I still didn't know what was real. But for the first time since this mess started, I saw my wife again, not the villain my pain made her out to be. After our talk, Ella and I both agreed we needed closure, not just emotionally, but factually. We couldn't just move on without knowing what actually happened that night. That's when Ashley came through again. She messaged me and said, "I got something you should see. It'll clear everything up." Apparently, one of the bars they went to that night had a security camera. Ashley had contacted the bar and asked if they still had footage from that weekend, and by some miracle, they did. The manager even emailed her a few clips since she explained it involved potential misconduct. And what we saw in those clips? Game changer. Ella was clearly intoxicated, but not sloppy or out of control. Natalie, on the other hand, kept pouring drinks into her glass and whispering in her ear. The random guy? He barely interacted with Ella the whole night. It was Natalie who was hanging on him at the bar, dancing with him, touching him. At one point, Ella stumbled away from the group and went to sit near the exit. The guy followed her. Then Natalie came over, talked to him briefly, and pointed toward Ella. It was all there. We don't know exactly what happened afterward, there's no footage from the hotel, but it completely flipped the narrative. It looked like Natalie engineered the situation. Or at the very least, pushed Ella into being alone with that guy while she was too drunk to make decisions. Ella broke down watching it. "I didn't do anything with him. I swear. I didn't even know he came into the room until I woke up." And for the first time, I believed her. Fully. Deeply. What kind of friend does that? Once we saw the footage, things got crystal clear. Ella didn't cheat. She was manipulated, targeted, and it was by someone she trusted. We confronted Natalie together. Ella sent her the video, no explanation, just, "I know what you did." Natalie left us on read. Never responded. But we didn't need her to. That silence said it all. Word spread fast in their friend group. Ashley told a few of the others, and guess what? Turns out Natalie had done shady stuff like this before. Passive-aggressive sabotage, stirring drama in relationships, lying to turn people against each other. She just never went this far until now. We cut off everyone who defended her or tried to stay neutral. No more half-loyal friends. Ashley? She's the real MVP. We've stayed close, I even thanked her with a dinner out just to say we owed her big time. She saved our marriage, plain and simple. And Ella, man, she changed. Not in a bad way, in a stronger way. She apologized to me again, not for cheating, because she didn't, but for letting herself fall into a situation where trust could be broken. She promised she'd never put herself or our relationship in that kind of vulnerability again. We started couples therapy. Not because we're broken, but because we want to come out of this even stronger. For the first time in weeks, I actually felt peace. But we weren't quite done yet. There was still one final thing I needed to do. After everything, the lies, the pain, the doubt, and the truth finally coming out, there was one last thing I needed to do. Forgive. Not blindly. Not like, let's pretend none of this happened. But truly, with intention. I forgave Ella for the things that spiraled out of her control, for not speaking up when things first felt off, for letting fear and guilt keep her silent. And I forgave myself too for assuming the worst, for reacting in anger instead of asking questions. We made a promise to each other. No more secrets. No more blurred lines. Total transparency. We both agreed we never want to feel that kind of fear again. We also started rebuilding date nights, honest conversations, more time together just laughing and being us again. And you know what? We're stronger now than we were before the trip. Crazy, right? Here's what I've learned, and what I tell anyone going through something like this. Don't jump to conclusions without evidence. Pain makes us see what we expect to see. Not everyone in your circle wants the best for you. Sometimes, betrayal comes from friends. Trust your gut, but verify it. I almost ended a great marriage over a single photo. If someone truly loves you, you'll see it in how they fight to stay, not just how they beg you not to leave. And finally, forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom. I thought I was writing the story of my marriage ending. Turns out, I was writing the story of how it survived something that could have destroyed it.